I'm going to show you how to make your I Am poem look like the final product that you see on the screen. So first, we're going to go to the template that you were given in class. So this is what it should look like. And the first step that you're going to take once you're done with your rough draft is you're going to go ahead and write your name in the middle of the thumbprint where the lines are. And it doesn't have to look pretty as long as it's there. Once your name is on, you can go ahead and flip your page over, and your page is going to just be blank. You shouldn't see anything on the other side. You're going to need to trace the lines like I have already done on my page. Some good ways to do that are to hold your paper up to a window or some kind of bright light. Sometimes even the lights in the classroom are bright enough for you to be able to lightly trace over with your pencil. And these lines also don't have to be pretty because we will eventually be erasing these to reveal the final product. So once your lines are drawn and your name is on your blank page, you're going to go ahead and get out your rough draft, and you're going to start writing each sentence in pencil on the lines. You're going to kind of treat these lines like the worksheet pages that you had when you were in elementary school, when you were practicing making your capital and lowercase letters. So you're going to want your letters to fill up the entire space between the two lines. And I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to start writing my poem for you guys to see. The first line of my poem is, I am a teacher who cares. So I'm just going to start on this very first line. And I'm going to write it exactly as I have it in my rough draft. So I started with a capital I, and you can see I tried to fill in all that space. And I also turned my page a little bit to help me be able to write it easier. And so that letter is in line with where the two lines are on the thumbprint. And I'm going to continue that sentence. So the next thing I have is am, and both of these letters are lowercase, so I'm going to copy them just like that. But again, I'm going to take up as much room as I can between those lines. So you can see it looks a little bit funny compared to how we would normally write. Normally, your capital letter would be bigger than your other letters. But since we're trying to take up as much room, it's going to look a little strange. So my next letter is a capital A, and then I'm going to continue that sentence. And then I'll put a period where my sentence ends. You can see that I still have some space here. So I'm going to take the next sentence from my poem and I'm going to start it on this blank space, and then I'll continue it where the next line starts. So my next sentence is, I wonder how my students are doing. Okay, and that's the end of my next sentence. Now, you might notice as I was writing, I was just using my normal handwriting. I was trying to be as neat as I possibly could, but I was also keeping in mind that it doesn't have to look perfect. It should look like my handwriting. As long as I'm being neat and doing my best, it is okay. All right, and you should do the same with yours. Yours might look a little bit different than mine, but that's okay because we have different handwriting. So now I'm going to continue writing, and I'm going to actually stop when I get to this kind of confusing middle part that you might be wondering how you're going to write there. So I will be back in just a second with the rest of these lines. So as you can see here, I went ahead and filled in the rest of these lines up until you get to the center part. So I just went in order. This is the second line, third, fourth, and even though it looks a little confusing here with that middle part, you're just going to follow that fifth line up and around. And I happen to be able to end the line of my poem at this line. So I'm going to just go ahead and start my next line in the middle here, and I'm going to write all the way around that loop, and then I'm going to go down the tail, and I'm also going to try to fill in this little section here when I go to the outside of my poem. So I'll show you what I mean. The next line I'm going to write is, I feel inspired and happy most of the time, tired sometimes. So I'm going to rotate my page a little bit, and I'm going to write teeny tiny here, rotating it as I go. Okay, now you can see I've been rotating it the whole time, and my line continues. So I put those 3 dots, that was in my rough draft too, and the poem continues, tired sometimes. So since there's this little awkward space here, I'm going to continue my line here. So my next word is tired. And then I'll end my sentence there. And I do still have a little bit of space here, so I'm going to continue my next one. And the next one, it looks like, is, I worry if my students are engaged and understand. So I'll just continue on to these lines here. And this is kind of the easy part. It's almost just like curvy notebook paper. Okay, now I think you guys get the idea for the rest of it. So this will give you an idea of how to start it, how to write on the lines, how to navigate this strange middle part of the thumbprint. And before I end, I just want to remind you, even though it's going to be tempting to write in marker on this, make sure that you're using pencil, because even I messed up a few times, even as I was making this video, and I've done this project a few times. So just keep that in mind when you're doing yours. It's worth the extra time that it takes to use the pencil. Now, when you go back over it in marker, you're going to alternate colors. And I have 3 colors that I will use on mine. I'm not going to show you in this video because I think you'll understand pretty well on your own. But I would, on my first sentence, I would pick any of my colors. Let's say I was going to use black. So I would do black on the whole first sentence. I am a teacher who cares. When I get to my next sentence, I would pick a different color. So I picked orange for tigers. So my next sentence would be, I wonder how my students are doing. And then I would stop at the end of that sentence and I would pick my next color. And my final color I picked is green because it's one of my favorite colors. So I would continue my whole next sentence. I see a student helping another student pick up her books that fell would all be in green. And you are allowed to have more than 3 colors. So if you have more than that, just keep rotating until you get through all your colors and then start over again. And remember, if you end up running out of room on your thumb, don't stress, just end the poem there, just finish out the line that you're on. If you end up having too much room, you can restart the poem to fill in the whole image. And once you're done, you should add decoration on the white part. The more decoration you have and the less white that's showing, the better. You can do all thumbprints like I did. You can use different colored thumbprints if you don't want to just use all black the way I did. You can draw pictures or symbols, or if you have your own stickers or printouts that you want to put on here that would represent yourself, you can do that too. And I think that's it. If you have any questions, let me know.